going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today on the GMC, we're going to tackle that transmission crossmember. We're going to get the inner skins cut out of the fenders and any little nitpick thing we need to get tidied up so we can get the truck set up on shop air. I want to see it on the ground for the first time to check all of my clearances for those big 26s that's going on the truck. So stay tuned. We get to see it finally laid out for the first time in this episode. I want to say thank you to everybody that's been commenting, subscribing, sharing, doing all the YouTube stuff. I really appreciate it. And be on the lookout for our website. It will be coming up soon. But I hope you enjoy this video. Stay tuned for more. Thanks, guys. All right, as you guys can see, the transmission crossmember of these trucks hangs a pretty good amount below the frame rail, and we want to lay frame. We don't want to be just sitting and teeter-tottering on a crossmember. So we're going to actually cut the mounting brackets down, get these off the bottom of the frame, and we're going to section the bottom half of this crossmember and replate it. And that should take care of all that. That way it all bolts in the factory way. It doesn't change the angle of the drive line or any of that. It's all going to go back the same way. What we'll do to add some strength on these, the way these are mounted in here, once we cut this bottom brace off, I'm going to make some templates to go around through here and weld to the frame and weld to this to stiffen these mounts up since you're taking some of this out, and then recap the bottom of the crossmember with a hole to get to the bolt still for the transmission. All right, we'll get you set up. We'll get this thing yanked out of here and get to cutting. All right, now we've got the transmission crossmember out of the truck. We took and cleaned up the area that we'll be working in on both sides. And you can see here at this line, this is where we measured to where we need to cut. So what we'll do is we're going to cut this off. I mean, there's solid sleeves welded on each side for the through bolts. Nothing's should move anyway, but we're going to cut right through here, right on this line on both sides. And then we're going to remake a new bottom cap with the access hole to get to the bolt for your transmission. And we will get that set up in there, tack it on, make sure it clears on the truck, bring it back out, and then we'll weld it up, give this a fresh coat of paint, and this baby here will be done. Then once we get this cut and capped and know it all fits, then we'll trim all those brackets off the actual frame rail on the truck to get those clearance, so we'll be on the actual frame rails when we lay the truck out. But for now, we're going to get this cut, get over there and get the bracket made to recap the bottom, and get it all welded on. All right, so now we've got our filler piece made. Just some 3/16 plate, hot rolled, that will set down in here. Oh, gotta make sure the hole's the right way. We'll set and locate like this to where you can come in and stitch weld it to put your strength back in this. But that way it's nice and flat now. All your strength will be back. But for now, I'm just going to tack it to where I want to stitch weld it and stick it back in the truck and make sure everything is going to clear here, that we don't have to do any more trimming or anything, which we shouldn't, but I always like to check before I get weld happy, because I have got a little happy before with that welder and had to go cut stuff apart, and that's never fun. So we can tack it up, check it, and come back, weld it solid if it's good to go. Then we'll tackle the mounts actually on the truck. All right, now you can see where that's been sectioned. It bolts back in place. It will clear the frame rail now, as you can see. So now we have to take it back out and get a wire wheel and clean a bunch of this undercoating and stuff off here to where we can mark these brackets and get these cut off the frame, and then make the inside bracket to brace them back so it adds the strength back. There it is. As you can see now, it sets above the frame rail. Everything bolted back in the factory location. Right here, actually, I didn't have to make a gusset. It was already welded, and there's a bracket that tucks up in the frame. These side pieces are fully welded. They're strong enough. You can clip them. I just welded the corners to where there was nowhere for it to start ripping or anything, and it's boxed in from there up. So it turned out good. Everything looks good. Everything's above the frame rail. So now we'll move on to getting these fenders cut out. So hopefully we can get this truck on shop air and get it on the ground. These, I will be putting these on my website. I'm going to save that file for anybody that wants to do this. That way you can just order this filler plate, do exactly what I did. You can mark it, cut it out. I'll even put a little list of instructions to come in the pack when I get this developed. But that way you can just take your stock Crossmember section and weld that in, and you'll be good to go. It even has the access hole for the bolt and everything for the transmission mount. Simple. As long as you can cut and weld, this is an easy task. It didn't take me probably 2 hours to get all this made and done up. But we'll move on to the next step. All right, now that we've got transmission cross members done, front fabrication for the suspension's complete, everything that looks like it's going to hang below the frame rail has been moved, cut, cleaned, whatever. It's all out of the way. So now we can get to the sheet metal, and we'll start cutting all this out to clear those 26s. We'll do it the same way like we do the firewall, just a little at a time. I've got my first mark here to cut to start clearing everything out, but we got to unbolt all this stuff that we've left. And once we get all the sheet metal cleared, we're going to get this truck on the ground on shop air to make sure everything we've done is going to work right. And then we'll start doing the pretty stages of doing all the custom bead roll, sheet metal, the firewall tubs, and whatever else we get into. We plan on building a custom intake for this truck far as the actual intake tube and a breather box, I'm going to build a sheet metal bead rolled breather box that houses the filter, so it all looks kind of factory-ish, because we're going to color match everything back under the hood. All the sheet metal stuff's going back white. So I'm going to get you set up. We'll get this stripped, and we'll get on from there. So as you can tell, truck lays out, everything works like we wanted it to. But we're at the point now where we're back at this pesky AC blower motor. The actual wheel is touching it right before it lays out. The overall diameter is just a touch over 32 inches tall on these wheels and tires. So I knew we were going to get close to it, but we're actually hitting it. So what we're going to do is probably try to drill out those plastic molded rivets that's in the actual blower box itself and make a plate and slide it back and reseal it off. But we'll get to that after we do the tubs. I just wanted to get this in here so I can get my measurement and make sure where my tub needs to land. So I know the tub is right, and then we know to be behind that with the blower motor. But I'll just write down whatever measurement on that green tape. That way it's on there, we don't lose it, and then we'll get started on the firewall tubs. All right, now that we got everything cut out of the way, we got our notes of things we want to add to the wheel tub and everything. We went and got us some poster board, started laying everything out, and this is just how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to make poster board templates, trace it out on some 18 gauge, and just cut it out by hand. I could put it on the CNC table, spend the time to draw it. I just think this will probably be, in this case, be more accurate and just easier for me to do. But we'll basically make every piece that we're going to make out of poster board, and we'll just transfer it to sheet metal. My only tip for this kind of stuff is fine point Sharpies. If you weld up gaps for a living, you'll know what I'm talking about. But we're just going to have this laid up in here, tape it up, make our actual marks of the actual sheet metal, so that way we know when we cut our 18 gauge that it'll butt up easy for us to weld, and we won't have big gaps trying to fill, stuff like that. I will probably do a little bit of bead rolling just because I like the way it looks. I'm going to try to have the upper tubs and the firewall tubs kind of flow into one another. So we'll see how that goes once we get in here and get these laid out. So we got our 18 gauge setting up here. We'll start transferring our templates over, but first we took a little lacquer thinner. We're going to clean this sheet off so we don't ruin our markers with the oil that they put on the cold roll. Just makes it easier to work with, and then don't clog up your markers. You get a good line on your sheet metal to follow. And when it comes time to weld also, if you get all that oil and stuff off of it, it'll weld a lot better and blend out a lot better. There we go. Put this back in the blast cabinet. All right, everything's clean. We'll start laying our templates out. Get rid of this lacquer soaked rag. And like I said, we'll trim this out just a touch big. That way we know we have room to make our little breaks on the end that we want to make and on the side. All right, marked out, we'll start cutting. All right, now that we've got our first piece made, you see how we kind of rolled this edge here to put a little length back in here to get away from that blower motor. And then we went ahead and slip rolled it just to a basic shape. We'll just set it up here and kind of tack around where we can fit it, and then we'll just move it around. Then, you know, trim what's needed, because once you shape something, it's hard to tell if it rolls one way or the other. So I always just prefer to make the panel just a little bigger and start in one corner and then kind of press it around to make sure you're not going to get it twisted or in a bind. But if you can freely move it to line it up, and all you got to do is do a little bit of trimming, that's how I'll set them in, and then I'll just work my way around. But get this stuff cleaned up. I guess this weekend was the, this is Saturday, the 11th, October 11th, I believe. The show in Maggie Valley, All Truck Nationals, something like that, I believe. I've been seeing it on socials or whatever. It looked like a pretty good show. We just got our stuff sent in for Maggie Valley next year for mini nats. We're hoping to get approved for that. Either way, we're still going to go cruise and hang out. I haven't been in a few years, but yeah, we'll just find us a corner or whatever, tack, and just work our way around. And you can see here where that's going to pull this tight now. That pulls your gap here. So what we'll do, we'll just take our zip wheel and we'll just cut right in between there. I'll probably put another tack right on this corner just to brace it good. But that way we can cut that and then you can kind of work your way around. That's why I always prefer to make it big, because every time I try to make it perfect on the first go, it's never perfect. So. All right, now that we got the top tack, we've got some tape holding it on the bottom, so we can go on the inside and mark everything to where we're going to actually trim it to fit flush. So when we weld it out, it'll actually look kind of pressed in the firewall, because we're going to make a nice little panel here that's bead rolled, and we're going to weld everything solid and body work it to where it's smooth, because he wants the firewalls resprayed white, the sheet metal resprayed white. So we actually have to body work these when we're done, and that way it'll just look that much better. But just hold it with some tape, get on the inside, mark it, and where it's just tacked at the top, you can still pull that panel out enough to where you can look behind this way and trim it out to fit, and just fine tune as you go. And then you can always just take a flap wheel and grind the excess around, as long as you've got a nice place to weld and where you can seam it and body work it or whatever you want to do. And there it is. So we still got a little more metal work to do up here and a little bit here, nothing crazy. This is just the first round of starting to grind and see where we're at. All this was little holes that were in the firewall welded up, and it shrunk the steel. So we'll just hammer these out, and then that way we can finish blending that weld out top. But here's a little side piece we made with the bead roll, just to add a little strength right there, and plus it just looks cool. And as you can tell, the firewall's cut at a slant for when the wheel turns, if he's riding low or anything like that. But I'm not even gonna bother filming the other side. It's the same process. I'll use poster board and cut it out and shape it same way I did this side. And then after we do that, we got some wires we gotta put through some grommets. We're waiting on them to be delivered, hopefully Monday or Tuesday this week. Once those are in, we can get the wires put through the cab and get all that mounted. But I gotta get ready for some stair installs that we built. We're gonna start demoing on Monday morning, so we'll get this finished out today, and that'll be it on this video. All right, guys, like I said, I'm not even going to bother filming that other side. It's the same process, but we appreciate all the love and support. This video has already got a little long, but stay tuned for underhood sheet metal for like far as the fender tubs, the custom air enclosure for the air filter, the intake tube, and all that stuff we're going to build. we got a lot more to do. We got to get the interior back together. We got to get the airbox modified. So there's still a lot to do. There's still many videos coming for this truck. So I'm gonna break everything out in those videos. If you're looking to have work done, look me up, bluegrassmetalcreations@gmail.com. Just Google Bluegrass Metal Creations, Franklin, Kentucky. I'm not hard to find. If you need work done, we can get you scheduled next year. We're already booked out all this year and a little bit into next year. So if you're looking to have something done, reach out. Or if you need parts made, stuff like that, I can ship them. I can do anything that you need. I appreciate all the love and support. People have been sharing this stuff. It means a lot to me. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope everybody has a good week. But until the next one, we'll see you then.